Well, let's take a closer look at where Donald Trump stands when it comes to the key issues of this election campaign. We'll start off with immigration, certainly one of the most controversial campaign policies. Now, Donald Trump initially proposed mass deportations for every person living in the United States illegally. He has since softened that position, but he's determined to build that wall along with Mexico.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
Well, Donald Trump also called for a total shutdown of Muslim immigration to the United States and what he called, quote, extreme vetting of refugees who want to enter the country.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
In terms of diplomacy, Trump has indicated that he would try to work with Syria's Bashar al-Assad and the Russian President Vladimir Putin in a combined fight to defeat Daesh. And he calls the Iran nuclear deal one of the worst he has ever seen. And a Trump administration would change what he calls America's failed trade policy. He wants to withdraw the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or the TPP, which has not yet been ratified. And he promised to reopen negotiations on already signed deals, including the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. Okay. In his victory speech, Donald Trump briefly touched on a foreign policy in which the U.S. would deal with other countries fairly as long as America gets the same treatment in return. Take a listen.
Along with all other nations willing to get along with us. We will be. We'll have great relationships. We expect to have great relationships. No dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. America will no longer settle for anything less than the best. We must reclaim our country's destiny and dream big and bold and daring. We have to do that. We're going to dream of things for our country, and beautiful things and successful things once again. I want to tell the world community that while we will always put America's interests first, we will deal fairly with everyone,
Let's get some more analysis on what we just heard from Donald Trump. Copetas, our editor-at-large, joins us on the set. When you look at Donald Trump and what he's just said, break this down for us. How much of it is serious and how much of it is just populism?
Well, I think what he's saying on foreign policy is serious. I think you have to begin this discussion with the fact that the media failed to present a realistic, reality-based election here. They got it wrong, and completely. And as they were doing this, they were also getting certain foreign policy aspects wrong. And the principal one among them was Russia. Donald Trump right now is doing nothing that Ronald Reagan or Richard Nixon didn't do, you know. And the Russians, remember, I worked there for 8 years, you know. The Kremlin really doesn't care who they have to deal with. You might think they do, but they don't. They'll deal what's dealt to them. But they prefer dealing with a strong man because that's their nature, a tough guy. They loved Nixon, they loved Reagan, and who made nice to them, right? But they came in, we'll be friends, but, you know, trust but verify, as Reagan said. With Clinton, they knew that she was a weak-kneed lackey of Obama, who was a community organizer. Now, remember the famous scene where she's there with the foreign minister and they hit the reset button? That was a joke. That was a joke. All that they know about Trump right now is they are going to expect him coming to town to deal from a position of strength.
So do you think the Russians actually got what they wanted? Because when there was an interesting poll, a non-scientific poll amongst G20 countries about 6 or 7 months ago saying, who would you prefer to see in the White House, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? 19 of those organizations, including the EU, said, we want Hillary Clinton. Russia was the only G20 country that said, we want Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, well, sure, they're playing politics. They love to throw gasoline on the fire. But let's take the major criticism hurled at Trump vis-a-vis Russia. What he said that he wanted NATO countries to pay more money. Remember that? Well, let me tell you something. I heard that discussion at dinner parties at the ambassador's residence, Spaso House, back in the mid-'80s. It was not mentioned outside of polite company. Trump just opened his mouth.
Without even getting to the party, he's actually saying those things that we're supposed to.
Yeah, and everyone freaks out over this. I mean, look, Turkey's a wonderful example here, okay? Putin's a tough guy. Erdogan's a tough guy. Who would have thought that the two of them could have gotten together after what happened with the shoot down of the plane? But they did, because that's how the Russians have operated forever, going back to the times of the czars. So Trump is actually coming in there with a great deal of street cred. And the problem that you're hearing now is you should not exaggerate all the good things that Trump has said about Russia. Reagan said good things about Russia. Nixon said good things about Russia. And there was détente, and then the wall came down. Is Trump going to be able to go that far? I don't know, but he's making the right first moves vis-a-vis the Russians.
All right, we're going to have to wait and see. Craig Copetas,
Yeah.
thank you very much as always.